Hey guys, according to YouTube statistics, only 1% of the people watching this video are actually subscribed. Please subscribe, it's free, you can always change your mind. Now, let's get back to the video. We have all heard of strange and gory stories that are supposedly true, experienced by a friend of a friend of a friend. Whether true or not, these so-called urban legends tend to circulate throughout society, thriving on each individual's fears and curiosity. What most people don't realize is, within these tales lies the attitudes and values of a community. These tales do not survive throughout the years solely on the basis of their entertainment level, but due to the fact that they reflect society's fears and anxieties. Welcome to the Urban Legends Iceberg. Today I will explain the iceberg made by me. I'm really surprised no one made an iceberg about this yet, and of course this means I had to put extra work into making this video. So please like and subscribe to show your support for the channel. Now, without further ado, let's move on to tier 1. Bloody Mary is a legend of a ghost, phantom, or spirit conjured to reveal the future. She is said to appear in a mirror when her name is chanted repeatedly. The Bloody Mary apparition may be benign or malevolent, depending on historic variations of the legend. Bloody Mary appearances are mostly witnessed in group participation play or by a man who is about to die. The chupacabra is a legendary creature in the folklore of parts of the Americas, with its first sightings reported in Puerto Rico in 1995. The name comes from the animal's reported vampirism. The chupacabra is said to attack and drain the blood of livestock, including goats. Physical descriptions of the creature vary, with some describing it as more dog-like, while others describe it as more lizard or even alien-like. Creepypastas are horror legends that have been copied and pasted around the internet. These internet entries are often brief, user-generated, paranormal stories intended to scare readers. They include gruesome tales of murder, self-murder, and other unpleasant occurrences. The subject matter of creepypasta varies widely and can include topics such as ghosts, zombies, and haunted television shows and video games. The killer clown is a subversion of the traditional comic clown character, in which the playful trope is instead depicted in a more disturbing nature through the use of horror and dark humor. The modern archetype of the evil clown was popularized by DC Comics character, the Joker, starting in 1940 and then again by Pennywise in Stephen King's 1986 novel It. The character can be seen as playing on the sense of unease felt by the sufferers of coulrophobia, the fear of clowns. Men in Black are supposed government agents who harass, threaten, or sometimes even assassinate UFO witnesses to keep them quiet about what they have seen. The term is generic, used for an unusual, threatening, or strangely behaved individual whose appearance on the scene can be linked in some fashion with a UFO sighting. Several alleged encounters with the Men in Black have been reported by UFO researchers and enthusiasts. Slender Man is a fictional supernatural character that originated as a creepypasta internet meme created by Something Awful user Eric Knudsen in 2009. He is depicted as a thin, unnaturally tall humanoid with a featureless head and face, and wearing a black suit. Stories of Slender Man commonly feature him stalking, abducting, or traumatizing people, particularly children. The Way to Hell legend holds that a team of Soviet engineers, purposely led by an individual named Mr. Azakov in an unnamed place in Siberia, had drilled a hole that was 14.4 kilometers or 8.9 miles deep before breaking through a cavity. Intrigued by this unexpected discovery, they lowered an extremely heat-tolerant microphone, along with other sensory equipment, into the well. The temperature deep within was 1,000 degrees Celsius, or about 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. Heat from a chamber of fire from which the tormented screams of the damned could be heard. Of course, this is just a myth. Black-eyed children are an American urban legend of paranormal creatures that resemble children between ages 6 and 16 with pale skin and black eyes, who are reportedly been hitchhiking or begging, or are encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. The curse of the Bambino was a superstitious sports curse in Major League Baseball, derived from the 86-year championship drought of the Boston Red Sox from 1918 to 2004. The superstition was named after Babe Ruth, colloquially known as the Bambino, who played for the Red Sox until he was sold to the New York Yankees in 1920. While some fans took the curse seriously, most use the expression in a joking manner. Hookman is an urban legend about a killer with a pirate-like hook for a hand attacking a couple in a parked car. In many versions of the story, the killer is typically portrayed as a faceless, silhouetted old man wearing a raincoat and rain hat that conceals most of his features, especially his face. The story is thought to date at least from the mid-1950s and gained significant attention when it was reprinted in the advice column Dear Abby 1960. It has since become a morality archetype in popular culture and has been referenced in various horror films. Okay, so this one really gave me the chills when I read it for the first time. The Killer in the Backseat Legends involves a woman who is driving and being followed by a car or truck. The mysterious pursuer flashes his high beams, tailgates her, and sometimes even rams her vehicle. When she finally makes it home, she realizes that the driver was trying to warn her that there was a man hiding in her backseat. Each time, the man set up to attack her. The driver behind had used his high beams to scare the killer, causing him to duck back down. Okay, so this is a really cool one. Kuchisake Onna is a malevolent figure in Japanese urban legends and folklore. Described as the malicious spirit of a woman, she partially covers her face with a mask or other items and carries some sort of sharp object. According to popular legend, she asks the potential victim if they think she is beautiful. If they respond with no, she will kill them with her long scissors. If they say yes, she will reveal that the corners of her mouth are slit from ear to ear, and she will repeat the question. If the individual responds with no, she will kill them with her weapon, and if they say yes, she will cut the corners of their mouth in such a way that resembles her own disfigurement. The 999 phone charging myth is an urban legend which claims that if a mobile phone has low battery, then dialing 999 charges the phone so it has more power. This was confirmed as a myth by several British police forces who publicly cited the dangers of making such calls. The basis for the myth was a feature of BlackBerry phones. If the battery level was too low, the phone automatically locked down phone features and shut down the phone radio for all calls except to emergency services. People discovered that if they dialed 999, then immediately hung up, it would override the shutdown for a number of minutes so that phone calls could be made. Please don't do this. It's really illegal and it puts other people's life in danger. Black Volga refers to an urban legend widespread in Eastern Europe, mainly in the 1960s and 70s. The legend refers to a black Gaz-21 and Gaz-24 that was allegedly used to abduct people, especially children. The Bodyman is an urban legend that originated from two incidents in Fairfax County, Virginia in 1970, but has been spread throughout Washington, D.C. and Maryland areas. The legend has many variations. Most involve a man wearing a rabbit costume who attacks people with an axe or hatchet. Jato Rocket Car was one of the original Darwin Awards winner, a man who supposedly met his death in this particular manner after mounting a Jato unit, a rocket engine used to help heavy aircraft to take off, onto an ordinary automobile. It was originally circulated as a forwarded email. The story was debunked in 2003 on the pilot episode of Mythbusters, titled Jet Assisted Chevy. Kill Switch is a fictional video game. According to the legend, this game can only be played once. If your character dies or you manage to complete the game will delete itself and leave no trace. It has also been cited as the primary inspiration behind the creepypasta Ben Drowned. Polybius is an urban legend that emerged in early 2000 concerning a fictitious 1980s arcade game. The legend describes the game as part of a government-run crowdsourced psychology experiment based in Portland, Oregon during 1981. Gameplay supposedly produced intense psychoactive and addictive effects in the player. These few publicly staged arcade machines were said to have been visited periodically by men in black, for the purpose of data mining the machines and analyzing these effects. Allegedly, all of these Polybius arcade machines disappeared from the arcade market. Skeleton in a Tree is an urban legend, alleging that years after the defeat of St. Clair in 1791 at Fort Recovery, Ohio, the skeleton of Captain Roger Vanderberg was found in Miami County, inside a tree, along with a diary. However, no one of this name was a casualty from the 1971 battle. The story originated from 1864 from a Scottish novel. The Baby Train is an urban legend told in the US, UK, and Australia. The legend first appeared in Christopher Morley's 1939 novel Kitty Foyle. According to the legend, a certain small town had an unusually high birth rate. This was allegedly caused by a freight train passing through the town and blowing its whistle, waking up all the residents. Since it was too late to go back to sleep and too early to get up, couples would do stuff. This resulted in a mini baby boom. Hippo Eats Dwarf is the title of a news article which claims that a dwarf was accidentally eaten by a hippopotamus. The urban legend has been circulating via the internet since the mid-1990s. The story goes that a freak accident occurred at a circus during an act involving a dwarf bouncing on a trampoline. The dwarf jumped sideways off the trampoline, just at the moment the hippopotamus began to yawn. The dwarf landed in the hippo's yawning mouth and was abruptly and accidentally swallowed whole. The audience applauded until they realized this was not part of the show and the true horror set in. Madame Koi Koi is a ghost in Nigerian and African urban legend who haunts dormitories, hallways, and toilets in boarding schools at night, while in day schools she haunts toilets and students who come to school too early or leave school too late. She is often depicted wearing a pair of red heels or wearing a single heel. Sewer alligators stories date back to the late 1920s and early 1930s. They are based upon reports of alligator sightings in rather unorthodox locations, in particular New York City. The New York Times reports the city rescues 100 alligators per year, some directly from homes where they are kept as illegal pets, and some from outside, though mostly above ground. This one is kinda gross, but whatever. The Spider Bite legend features a young woman from an ordinary northern location who is on vacation abroad in an exotic southern location. While sunbathing on the beach, she is bitten on the cheek by a spider. The bite swells into a large bump and she rushes home to seek medical treatment. She finds a doctor to pop the bump, but then hundreds of tiny spiders come running out of her cheek. She then goes insane from shock. Hanako-san is a Japanese urban legend about the spirit of a young girl who haunts school toilets. Like many urban legends, the details of the origins of the legend vary depending on the account. Different versions of the story include that Hanako-san is a ghost of a World War II era girl who was killed while playing hide and seek during an air raid, that she was murdered by a parent or stranger, or that she committed self-murder in a school toilet. In the Air Tonight is a song by Phil Collins that is allegedly about a drowning incident in which someone who was close enough to save the victim did not help them, while Collins, who was too far away to help, looked on. Increasingly embellished variations on the legend emerged over time, with the stories often culminating in Collins singling out the guilty party while singing the song at a concert. Shotgun Man was an assassin and spree killer in Chicago, Illinois in the 1910s, to whom murders by Black-Hand extortionists were attributed. Most notably, Shotgun Man killed 15 Italian immigrants from January 1, 1910 to March 26, 1911 at Death Corner, the intersection of Oak Street and Milton Avenue, in what was then Chicago's Little Sicily. In March 1911, he reportedly murdered 4 people within 72 hours. The Vanishing Lady legends go like this. During an international exposition in Paris, a daughter leaves her mother in a hotel room. When she comes back, her mother is gone and the hotel staff claims to have no knowledge of the missing woman. It is later revealed that the mother was dying of plague and fearing for the negative impact on the hotel's public image, the staff just disposed of the mother, redecorated the room, and pretended as if nothing had happened. The blue star tattoo is an urban legend which states that a temporary licking stick tattoo soaked in LSD and made in the form of a blue star, or of popular children's cartoon characters, is being distributed to unknowing children to make them addicted to it, even though LSD is rarely addictive. Okay, so this one is long, but it's too good to miss. The legend goes like this. A young girl is home alone for the first time with her dog for company. Listening to the news, she hears of a killer on the loose in her neighborhood. Terrified, she locks all the doors and windows, but she forgets about the basement window and it is left unlocked. She goes to sleep, taking her dog to her room with her and letting it sleep under her bed. She wakes up in the night to hear a dripping sound coming from the bathroom. The dripping noise frightens her, but she is too scared to get out of the bed and find out what it is. To reassure herself, she reaches a hand towards the floor for the dog and is rewarded by a reassuring lick on her hand. The next morning, when she wakes, she goes to the bathroom for a drink of water, only to find her dead, mutilated dog hanging in the shower with his blood slowly dripping onto the tiles. On the shower wall, written in the dog's blood, are the words, "Humans can lick too." In May 2001, reports began to circulate in the Indian capital around a strange monkey-like creature that was appearing at night and attacking people. Eyewitness accounts were often inconsistent, but tended to describe the creature at about 120 centimeters or 4 feet tall, covered in thick black hair, with a metal helmet, metal claws, glowing red eyes, and 3 buttons on its chest. Okay, so this one's pretty interesting too. The babysitter and the man upstairs legend goes like this. The teenage girl is babysitting at night. The children have been put to bed upstairs and the babysitter is downstairs watching television. The phone rings. The caller tells her, "Check the children." The adolescent dismisses the call and goes back to watching television. The anonymous caller dials back several times. Eventually, the babysitter calls the police, who inform her that they will trace the next call. After the stranger calls again, the police return to her call, advising her to leave immediately. She evacuates the home and the police meet her. They explain that the calls were coming from inside the house and that the unidentified prowler was calling her after killing the children upstairs. Okay, so the last one is more sad than scary. Teke Teke is a Japanese urban legend about the ghost of a schoolgirl who is said to have been tied by her bullies onto a railway line, where her body was cut in half by a train. She is a vengeful spirit who lurks in urban areas and around train stations at night. Since she no longer has a lower body, she travels on either her hands or elbows, dragging her upper torso and making a scratching sound. If she encounters an individual, she will chase them and slice them in half at the torso, killing them in such a way that mimics her own disfigurement. Thank you for watching this video, if you got until the end. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. I worked so hard on this video, Jesus Christ, I need sleep. And if you have video suggestions, please leave those in the comments. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye.